Yes, my friends, we have some important updates to bring you here, and I also need to talk about Justin Tucker. In my opinion, this guy is one of the best players the Ravens have had this season. If you agree with this, hit the like button. If not, hit the dislike button. If possible, write something like this: "Let's go Ravens, go Tucker." I do believe so. He's very important. The guy has been the definition of reliability, and honestly, he's been the safety net that Baltimore relies on to win close games. But lately, fans have noticed something a little off with our star kicker. Whether it's a field goal attempt or an extra point, that unwavering confidence in Tucker isn't what it used to be. Many fans are asking the same question: what's going on with Justin Tucker? Recently, there were a few videos on YouTube talking about Tucker, which said this: the problem may not be Tucker himself. It may be his starter, Jordan Stout, and how the ball is being placed on field goals. Some have said that Tucker's misses have started to show up more frequently since Stout took over starting duties in 2022 following the retirement of Sam Koch. If that's true, it's a game changer in how we view Tucker's performance lately, and frankly, it might even be a relief to know that Tucker's mechanics aren't necessarily slipping, but rather that it could be a case of coaching impacting his kicks. The timing issue has been hard for fans to ignore. Tucker, once the most accurate kicker in the league, has missed 15 field goals and 3 extra points since 2022. It's crazy to think that even with these struggles, Tucker still holds the title of most accurate kicker in the league, which says a lot about the high standard we hold him to. When Tucker misses, Ravens Nation feels it deeply. We're not used to seeing him miss. So when he does, it's like, what's wrong with him? Something wrong? Many fans get nervous because missing these crucial kicks, especially in the playoffs, can be game-changing. Some fans on Twitter are also talking about Tucker. One fan, for example, added an interesting layer to the conversation. He pointed out that the Ravens haven't been the same since Jordan Stout took over as Tucker's starter. Could this really be a coincidence? Or has Koch's retirement shaken things up more than we realized? Coach John Harbaugh has been pretty tight-lipped, calling it just a technical thing when asked. But fans know Harbaugh well enough to recognize that he rarely throws players under the bus in public. If the holding technique is truly an issue, you'd expect the coaching staff to deal with it quietly and directly with Stout on the practice field, away from the media. What's even more concerning is that some fans and analysts are wondering if Tucker might be dealing with an injury. Jeff Zrebiec of The Athletic raised a good point after Tucker's leg slipped during a field goal attempt in Cleveland. Since that play, Tucker's kicks haven't looked as smooth as they usually do, leading fans to wonder if he's dealing with a minor injury that's affecting his mechanics. Zrebiec doesn't typically make speculative statements without reason, so if he's bringing this up, it's worth paying attention to. What if Tucker is battling an injury and dealing with potential starter issues? Well, that's a double whammy for our kicking game, and it's not something Ravens fans want to hear heading into the final stretch of the season. Now, looking forward, this next part of the season is absolutely critical for the Ravens. They've got tough matchups ahead against the Steelers, Chargers, and Eagles. These are the kinds of games where a missed field goal could mean the difference between leading the AFC North or losing crucial ground in the playoff race. And while fans can hold their breath and hope for the best, the team can't afford to just hope. They need to be making the necessary adjustments, whether that's giving Tucker more support or helping Stout perfect his holds. Harbaugh, as a former special teams coach, has the experience to make those adjustments happen, but will it be in time to make a difference? After all, Ravens fans, you know what's on the line here. Baltimore's offense, led by Lamar Jackson, is more dynamic than ever, and our defense has been stepping up big time. So, for the Ravens to be held back by their kicking game, that's just not acceptable, and we know this team is capable of addressing it. Here's where I turn it over to you. What do you think? Is it time for the Ravens to bring in some competition for Tucker to keep him sharp, as some fans have suggested? Do you think the issue is with Stout's holding technique, or could Tucker be dealing with something more serious? And looking ahead, how confident are you that Baltimore's special teams will pull through when it matters most in the playoff race? Let me know your thoughts. Ravens Nation, let's get this conversation going.
Baltimore Ravens running back Keaton Mitchell made his long-awaited return in the thrilling 35-34 win over the Cincinnati Bengals on Thursday Night Football. Fans had been eager to see the young sparkplug back in action, but he saw very limited playing time, leaving fans both curious and a little disappointed. Mitchell played just 2 offensive snaps, with 1 carry for no gain that was ultimately nullified by a penalty on the Bengals. Besides that, he featured primarily on special teams, logging 7 snaps and returning 1 kickoff for an impressive 30-yard gain in the third quarter. For a player many hoped would add a new dynamic to the Ravens' explosive offense, it was a quiet return, but head coach John Harbaugh's comments signal that big things could be on the horizon for Mitchell. Ravens fans know that Harbaugh isn't one to rush players back into action, especially after an injury as serious as the torn ACL Mitchell suffered on December 17th. But his optimism about Mitchell's potential role moving forward should have everyone excited. Harbaugh expressed his hopes on Monday, saying that Mitchell's touches could soon increase as he gets fully back in the groove, playing alongside Derrick Henry and Justice Hill. Keaton Mitchell is a really good football player, Harbaugh shared with confidence. In that role as a running back, that's got some special teams elements to it, for sure. Boy, I like the ball in his hands, so we had him back there in kickoff return. I'm sure he'll be on some other phases, but really, we'll start working him into the offense as well. Harbaugh continued, hinting at the possibility of a three-headed monster in the backfield, featuring Henry, Hill, and Mitchell. I do see a little bit of a three-headed monster there, potentially. We'll see where that goes over the next course of games, and hopefully, that's something that can start to develop for us. Fans can imagine the impact such a dynamic backfield could have on opponents, with Mitchell's elusiveness and speed adding another layer to the Ravens' offense. The numbers back up just how effective Mitchell was last season. In 8 games, he averaged 8.4 yards per carry and 10.3 yards per reception. With 47 carries, he racked up 396 rushing yards and 9 catches for 93 yards. Those numbers speak volumes about the kind of spark Mitchell could provide if he returns to top form. The Ravens' running game already leads the league, boasting an incredible 182.6 rushing yards per game and 440.2 total yards per game. Stats that underline just how critical this aspect of their play has been to their success. Derrick Henry has been an absolute powerhouse, leading the NFL with 1,120 rushing yards and 12 rushing touchdowns this season. Meanwhile, Justice Hill has shown his versatility in the passing game, adding 272 receiving yards and 2 touchdown catches. The idea of mixing Mitchell into this rotation gives Ravens fans a tantalizing prospect, but it also poses a challenge. Balancing these 3 unique talents and finding a rhythm that maximizes their strengths without taking away from each other will be a puzzle for Harbaugh and his coaching staff to solve. Yet if Mitchell can return to the form we saw last season, that vision of a three-headed monster becomes very real. With Henry's strength, Hill's versatility, and Mitchell's speed, the Ravens could possess the most dangerous backfield in the NFL, creating mismatches that could carry them deep into the playoffs. It's a thrilling idea, and Harbaugh's comments hint that the coaching staff is just as excited as the fans about what could unfold in the coming weeks. So, Ravens fans, what do you think? Will Keaton Mitchell be the missing piece to push Baltimore's rushing attack to the next level, or will it be a challenge to find the right balance with so much talent in the backfield? Let us know your thoughts and whether you think the Ravens' three-headed monster can dominate the league as Harbaugh envisions.